To my Iron Path build, I wanted to show you something that I discovered with this game. You can actually make a really strong sneak build in this game. A sneak stealth and psionics build that you can just completely destroy everything in the game from actually a very early point. You don't need a lot of skill points to make this build work in the beginning, although fairly the build is not that great in the beginning in river build, but once you get a few couple of skill points, you get pretty strong. So the build revolves around stealth and archery and your daggers, obviously. And you get a lot of your damage not really from your marksman or your one-handed, but you get them from handicraft, and you just let the damage scale uh, really really hard with your sneak attacks, basically, because you can get sneak attacks that are 8 times the normal for your daggers, and then 3.8 multiplier on your bow. So you can not only deal incredible amounts of damage, but you can also be extremely sneaky, and it'll be very difficult for enemies to detect you. Here, for example, you have a clip of me going up against a black Myrad with 2 daggers, just to show I'm on Iron Path difficulty. And I basically just sneak up to it and I one-shot it completely because the multipliers makes you deal so much damage that the enemy is not even able to really get up before it's dead. And really, this battle is mostly focused on it sort of flying around and you fighting it like a dragon. But with this build, you can kill it before it even gets up in the air. So another thing about this build that is extremely good is that you can escape and de-aggro enemies extremely easily. Because in this game, you have a very funny little ability called Flash Powder, that when you cast it, it makes every enemy in the game basically turn around and run from you. And this, even if they just run into a wall and you're still there, uh, just behind them, when they rise up again, let's say it's a mercenary or it's a human enemy, they are completely, the aggro is completely reset. So you can go behind them and do a sneak attack them. And really, you can have a lot of enemies behind you, following you, and they will all be able to just run away from you, and you can reposition and you can fire your bow at them. Right here, I'm getting the Myrad bone to make the bone bow, which is the best bow in the game. It works super well with this build. Just here out in the daylight, in the normal daylight, you can also snipe people with your bow, even though when you're out and it's day, uh, even if you have high sneak, enemies can detect you still very easily. But again, you can just use flash powder on them, and they will be running away from you. And you can just basically, it's enough if you stand either behind them or long way from them, so far away, and they will not be able to see you. So I've been going through this build. I think I've done 2 playthroughs of this build on Iron Path. I think it's fairly well known in the Enderal community that the mage build is like the strongest build in Enderal, because you just have infinite, and there's so many things you can do as an elementalist in Enderal. So that's usually typically the strongest build in Enderal if you want to go Iron Path. But this build, you're pretty much invincible, unstoppable. You can't die with this build, and you can deal an infinite amount of damage, and you can just spam your abilities if they get close to you, you can just reposition. And for example, here I have 3 big enemies following me. I just do the flash powder and they just run away. And I just hide. And then even if, let's say, the flash powder is on cooldown, I can use my panic skill. Because if you have high enough in psionics, you can use it on higher level enemies. So, and then there's also a skill that lets you use it on basically any enemy type as well. But the only negative thing is you can't really sneak attack them when they are panicking, when they are under the influence of the spell. So you have to reposition again and then start to attack. Like here for example, I kill that guy, and then I noticed that I don't really have all the ghost walk and the skills that I use to become invisible or on cooldown, and that's a great chance to use this, for example. Bread and butter spells or the skills that you use, that's basically Ghost Walk and Psionic Veil, and they're both sort of invisibility type skills. And they both have like, I think, 10-second cooldown. And of course, obviously, Ghost Walk is much better. For some reason, Ghost Walk lasts much longer in its tier 1. And then Psionic Veil lasts only like 5 seconds at tier 1. And Psionic Veil only makes you invisible, but Ghost Walk also dashes you forward. Like here, for example, you can use Ghost Walk to get pretty good spots. I'm up here in this cliff, this pillar. I can just snipe down on this enemy right here with my bow. And you can do this in a lot of situations as well. And even if, for example, the enemy detects you and you can't do sneak attacks, you can use your invisibility spell so that they can't detect you. Even though the eye is full, when you go invisible, you can still do a sneak attack on them because they can't see you. So I'm just going to go in and sort of show you guys what this build is about and what talents and skills I use and also what gear I use. Alright, so I'm in the game now. So I can just start by showing you my stats, my memory points here. And you can see that I focused mainly in sneak to just boost my sneaky level more, and then marksman to boost and to scale my bow damage. Handicraft is just the best workmanship skill to have because you can craft better stuff and upgrade them also higher. And as you can see, I'm only level 27. So you don't need to be high level at all for this build. And actually, even before when I showed you when I killed the Black Myra, I was actually only level 19, and I was able to do that. And then, of course, I'm using the bone bow. I haven't enchanted that either yet, but I will be. And then for the armor set, you can actually use whatever armor set you want, but I like the tracker set the most because I think it fits this build the best in terms of that it gives you bow damage and sneak and also a lot of different things. And also the tracker set is good because the tracker has basically this item right here, which is the burden of the tracker. I don't know what that is, that it's sort of like a bag. But that means you can get the set bonus without having a helmet. So you can basically use an extra piece of gear for that, for your helmet, for you want to complement your build better. And I'm using this set of the venture. By the way, if you're wondering what mods I'm using to make the armor look like this, I can link it down in the comments if you're wondering. And also when it comes to jewelry, you can use either bow damage or sneak multiplier. For the skills, I want to show you that, of course, because that's where the important things are. So in this skill tree right here, the infiltrator, when you start off the game, you're basically going to rush this as high as you can, basically until you get the flash powder, and that's extremely important. That will basically allow you to make this build work. And then a little bit higher up than that, you have the Ghost Walk. And when you get this Ghost Walk, you're basically going to pop off on everything. This is your real breakthrough for this build, where you're gonna become really strong. But you basically go here, you take these skills that you see here, and then up to the highest one, War of the Shadows, it actually gives you more sneak attack damage, 50%. And then you go into Trickster, you get higher bow skill, and then basically you stop when you get rapid shot. You can continue if you want. Absolutely, this talent, Eye of the Storm, I'm definitely going to get that because this is super strong. And then, yeah, the lockpicking skills as well. It's really good. And then for psionics, the psionic is here. You're just gonna get these skills. A psionic veil right here makes you invisible, so you have 2 invisibility skills. Then, and this skill is also really important. This is the skill that lets you use it on any enemy type. And then quiet casting, so that you can cast the skills without being detected. And another reason you want psionics and this skill tree right here is for your affinity. Actually, if you go out into my stat page again, you can see that I'm a shadow dancer. It says that I have a class. It's actually your affinity, and the way you get an affinity is you combine 2 skill trees of different schools, you can call it. So let's say I combine for this build Infiltrator with Sinistrope, it's called. The psionics one is called Sinistrope. And when you have 10 points in each, you get an affinity. But it doesn't count on the first point, and it also doesn't count on tier 2s and tier 3s. It only counts on the tier 1s, on your first point in that slot. So that's how you get an affinity. And when you have an affinity, you get an extra bonus. In this case, it raises my entropy, sneaking and psionics by 7 points, and it has a special effect as well. So yeah, that's basically the build. But yeah, if you found this video helpful, please share your thoughts in the comments. I think that if only one person shows an interest in this video and I get 1 view on this video, I might follow up on a video that sort of shows you how you can go in the early game and make this build from scratch. It's sort of like a walkthrough, because it's not really that many steps. There's just a few things that you can do in river build to get you through with nothing. So that you can get to arc, you can get your early weapons, you can get some strong bows, strong daggers, level up a bit so you can get Ghost Walk and Flash Powder, and you can basically start playing like this as soon as possible. So yeah,